Anyway, new council houses are going to be built for asylum seekers. Around 200 local authorities have indicated interest in a government pilot scheme that would fund the building of new properties or the refurbishment of derelict housing to make room for asylum seekers. Local councils involved include Brighton and Hove, Hackney, Peterborough and Thanet. But we've already seen this elsewhere. 2 weeks ago, flats in the seaside town of Llandudno in Wales are going to be refurbished specifically to house asylum seekers. In July, it emerged that there were plans to put asylum seekers in new £250,000 flats in Hampshire. There was fury after 113 flats were set to be used for asylum seekers in Farnborough. I believe that those asylum seekers have now been moved out of there. In Suffolk, asylum seekers have been moved into luxury £300,000 townhouses, complete with ensuite bathrooms, electric vehicle charging points, underfloor heating as well. So the latest is this. About £100 million has been allocated for councils to buy, build or renovate these homes to put asylum seekers in so that they can end the use of asylum seeker hotels. Well,
tonight the media mask slips as elites scramble, spinning housing chaos, gaslighting viewers, and panicking on air, because ordinary people see through the narrative and watch authority lose control live.
Well, three things here. One, we were told that Operation Scatter, which is basically to scatter asylum seekers around the UK in houses, was a dangerous right-wing conspiracy theory. Well, now it's happening, isn't it? Two, we were told that asylum seekers will not get preferential treatment when it comes to council houses. Well, it's very difficult to see what else this is, really, isn't it, I think, other than preferential treatment. Three, this Labour government need to understand, people aren't just angry about the use of hotels. It's not all about us not being able to book a room at a Holiday Inn, is it? We're really angry about the fact that these people are here in the first place. And you know what you're going to see on social media now? Around the Calais migrant camps, you're going to see videos of illegals being moved into brand spanking new houses. Channel migrant crossings rose 13% under Labour last year. Keir Starmer isn't smashing the gangs, is he? He's doing their job for them. Let's get the views of my panel and the audience as well. So, Adam, yeah, these new council houses or refurbished council houses for asylum seekers. Your views?
Look, so you break into this country illegally, you'll get either a free hotel room or a free flat, free food, free healthcare, free dentistry, free legal aid. You have no utility bills, no worries. Your life for the foreseeable future, if not your whole of your life in this country, is free. And it is on the taxpayer's expense. You and me are paying for that. Most of these people crossing the channel illegally are not asylum seekers, they're economic migrants. They come from, look, we've had rapes, sexual assaults, paedophilia from people from like Egypt, Morocco, Pakistan. There's no war in those countries. Recently, I made a fuss. I got contacted on social media. A pregnant young lady in her 20s, heavily pregnant as well, sent me pictures of her council accommodation, bugs, stains on the curtains, stains on the mattresses, really terrible place. And I threatened to put this on this show and on social media, and she was moved within hours with help from a local councillor. Now, people like that are being put in terrible conditions, yet asylum seekers are going to be given free flats, free houses. It's so wrong. We need to deport these people en masse when reform get in the next election, and stop the benefits, stop the housing, and they will self-deport in their millions in this country. I believe we should have 2 or 3 million people leave this country.
That's all right, don't worry. So obviously we're talking about whether or not you think that maybe it's a good thing or a bad thing that we've got these new council houses possibly for asylum seekers.
I just think, how much longer are we going to continue to reward these people that enter the country, you know, illegally? I mean, I absolutely think that the genuine asylum seekers have every right to be safe and to want their families to be safe. And I think that every country should help them in achieving that. I'm talking about the genuine asylum
Women and
seekers.
children, maybe, not tens of thousands of men.
As you said, you know, the vast majority of people that come over on those boats are simply not that. And the government must think that we're thick to not know that. I've got family members of my own that are waiting for council accommodation. Some have been on the list for years. And And I just think to have somebody come over illegally and to now be spending, well, how many billions is it?
Well, so it was about 100 million quid in the short.
They said it was conspiracy, then funded it. Hotels, flats, refurbs, priority by another name. This is where it falls apart. Denials collapse. Presenter bristles. Questions loop. And the audience exposes reality versus fake news.
In the short term, but yeah.
On them, I think how can anybody in the government expect us to be okay with that, to be
we're not
happy about that, to think that it's a reasonable thing to do?
The government does not care.
No.
And the fact of the matter is, they want the asylum seekers out of the hotels because they've made a commitment to empty the hotels out. But if all you're doing is removing asylum seekers or so-called asylum seekers from hotels and putting them in accommodation elsewhere,
I looked at this when I saw the 100 million, right? I thought, okay, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to incentivize councils where there may be not a housing problem. That's what I thought, not a housing problem, to bring back into use old properties that need renovating. That would have made some sort of sense, right? But when you showed the list of the councils who were actually applying for this, actually, they are councils, all of whom have a serious housing problem. So I can't see anything more calculated to get up the nostrils of the British people than this. So I hadn't seen this scheme before, but I think...
Well, would you urge them to rethink this?
I think this is a disaster, and it's an intellectual failing to understand how people in this country who are exactly as fair-minded as that lady started off by saying, look, we all want people who are genuine asylum seekers to be safe, but
just to rent a flat, and if he wants to start a family, it's going to be even harder. You simply can't keep putting people into this position.
Do you know, in where we are now in Paddington, 72% of the social housing in this borough is taken up by foreign-born. 72%, and that is mirrored in many London boroughs. That is just a disgrace. This country is self-destructing, and it is getting worse and turbocharged under Labour.
Foreign-born British citizens, Adam?
It's foreign-born. I've got the stat there. But
so let's not just try and spin it too much.
I mean, there is a slight. I get what you're saying, Barry, and you're right. Technically speaking,
but what I want to know is,
sorry, I think that's an important point, because on that, people like to say, well, Boris Johnson's a foreign-born British citizen. Yeah, but to be fair, Boris Johnson's not in social housing, is he? But and we have been giving out passports like confessing.
If you are a foreign-born British citizen as well, then and you're taking a council house, doesn't that mean that therefore then you are a drain on the system rather than putting it into the system?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we need to look out for is as these closures, I mean, allegedly happen at some point of these migrant hotels, then what happens there is that then a lot of those people become in imminent risk of homelessness under the eyes of the way that we do the system. So you're going to end up, I think I'm right to say there's something like 35,000 in migrant hotels at the moment, something like that number. So if they decide that they're going to close them all by the end of the next parliament, you're going to have to find at least 35,000, as we know it now, homes or houses of multiple occupancy to put these people, and they're going to be classed as being in urgent need. And that's before we've factored in everyone else who's going to come in that time. Which means that they will be very, very near, if not right at the top of the social housing waiting list. So that is a big problem for Britain. And if you want to go, I mean, Llandudno is actually a really nice...
Sorry, just a point of clarification there.
This is the mask-off moment where authority loses control and the script collapses. Watch how frustration leaks through smiles as loaded questions repeat. Denial replaces answers, and elites lecture patience. Ordinary families waiting years hear the truth anyway. When councils build, buy, and refurbish for newcomers while locals queue, trust shatters. The media pretends this is technical, temporary, compassionate. Viewers know it is permanent displacement dressed as management. The panel tries to soothe, yet every statistic detonates credibility. This is why people don't trust the media. Narratives outrun reality, then panic follows. Call it incentives, pilots, or fairness. The result is priority without saying priority. That contradiction humiliates the establishment. And when even veteran politicians admit it inflames the public, the game is exposed. The bigger story is decline powered by denial, where borders blur, housing breaks, and consent evaporates. Share experience, challenge the spin, ask who it's built for.